everybody, and welcome to the live stream. This is Pro Wrestling Previews. This is a branch of the Burning Hammer podcast, which is a pro wrestling podcast where we talk about all things professional wrestling. You can listen to it on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And make sure to follow the Burning Hammer podcast on all of our social media. On Twitter, we are at The Burnt Hammer. On Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube, we are at The Burning Hammer. And make sure to follow Vendetta Sports Media on all of their socials. On Twitter, they are at Vendetta VSM. On Instagram and TikTok, they are at Vendetta Sports Media. And make sure to check out VendettaSportsMedia.com for all of your sports needs. I cover professional wrestling on there, but they have everything, TV, movies, gaming, you name it, they cover it. Head over to VendettaSportsMedia.com. Now, it's Friday night. Well, it's Friday, and you know what that means. Friday Night SmackDown is on tonight, so we are going to go over the entire match card to give you sort of a sneak peek of what to expect, because this is definitely an interesting Friday Night SmackDown match card, to say the very least. So, without further ado, let's get into the match card for Friday Night SmackDown and what to expect. So, kicking us off, we have the Street Profits are taking on LA Knight and Rick Boogs. Now, this one is very interesting because you've got the Street Profits, who are probably one of the bigger babyface tag teams on the entire roster, and they're taking on LA Knight, who's started off as a heel, but now he's kind of a tweener. You could argue that he's a babyface, but I still think he leans more toward a heel. And then you've got Rick Boogs, who's obviously a very big babyface. So I think something could be up with this match because LA Knight needed a partner, and you would think a guy who's a heel or at least a tweener is not going to get a babyface as his partner when they're taking on two of the biggest baby faces, one of the biggest babyface tag teams in WWE. So I wouldn't be surprised if something major happens with this. I think we could potentially get the Street Profits split, or I think we could get LA Knight turning on Rick Boogs following the match, because they're probably going to lose. So I think that LA Knight turning on Rick Boogs could be a way to sort of make him more of a heel, because everyone likes Rick Boogs and WWE does think fairly highly of Rick Boogs. So it's going to be interesting to see how everything plays out. But like I said, I think something could be up with this match, and wouldn't be surprised if the Street Profits, if they turn on each other, preferably probably Montez Ford turning on Angelo Dawkins, or if they just have LA Knight attack Rick Boogs to really solidify him as a heel moving forward. Because I'm sure if he turned on Rick Boogs, he would probably get booed out of the stadium. And honestly, if nothing like crazy happens in this match, it's definitely then just going to be a fairly weird match just to put on there, because like I said, you've got a babyface tag team against a tweener slash more of a heel in LA Knight, and then he's teaming up with a babyface and Rick Boogs. So if nothing weird happens in this match, I would be very surprised about it. But nonetheless, I think it could be a fun match, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. So let's move on to the Grayson Waller effect. It's going to premiere on Friday Night SmackDown. Grayson Waller's talk show that he had in NXT is now going to be a normal thing on SmackDown. We've seen many different talk shows throughout the years in WWE, and personally, I do enjoy them. So I am also very excited that they're doing this with Grayson Waller, because obviously it was very successful in NXT. So I'm happy that they are seeing that it's a big deal and it's something that he can bring to the main roster with him as well. And his guest is going to be none other than the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. And AJ Styles is taking on Seth freaking Rollins at Night of Champions to crown the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And AJ Styles and Grayson Waller do have brief history. Earlier last year, they faced off where AJ Styles picked up the victory. However, That's how highly they think of Grayson Waller. They had him go up against AJ Styles last year in NXT, so they obviously think very highly of this guy. If A, they have him face AJ in NXT, B, they call him up to SmackDown, and then they give him his show. So I think that's a big deal, and I think this is something that could be Grayson Waller's first feud once he gets called up after Night of Champions. I still think, despite everything, all of the reports that are going around with Seth Rollins and WWE's hesitant to give him the world title, I don't buy that for a second. I think Seth Rollins is still going to be the world champ, and I think AJ Styles' next feud after Night of Champions could be Grayson Waller. I think it makes perfect sense, and I think it could be why they are putting AJ Styles on the Grayson Waller effect on Friday Night SmackDown. Regardless, I am excited for this segment because I love a good talk show. So I am definitely super excited to see Grayson Waller, the NXT call up, finally get called up to the main roster, putting him on SmackDown and having his show continue. So next up, we have a tag team match featuring another NXT call up team. Pretty Deadly is taking on the Brawling Brutes, Butch and Ridge Holland. And before I get started into this match, let's start to call him Pete Dunne. All right. I mean, it's been too long. The Butch name never worked out. And it's honestly, it's a shame because I would like to see him just go back to being Pete Dunne. Like, I don't get why they think they have to change people's names who are in NXT, especially with just these one-worded weird names. So I think A, revert him back to Pete Dunne, and I think that could really help him out. B, once they do that, have him take on Gunther for the IC title. I don't think Pete Dunne should be the person to dethrone him. I think Ilya Dragunov should later this year after Gunther breaks the record, but I think calling him Pete Dunne, they don't have to necessarily get him out of the Brawling Brutes, but just have him taken serious. Go back to his bruiserweight gimmick in NXT that he had and just have him go after some singles stuff and really just give him a nice push. But I'm excited for this match because these couldn't be more different teams going at it. And this is Pretty Deadly's first action on the main roster. Now, prior to this, they have faced off in some house shows on Main Event for WWE. So this is their first match since getting drafted, and I'm very excited for it. Pretty Deadly are awesome, and they are a lot of fun, and I think they're going to have a lot of success in WWE, and I'm super excited for this match. Like I said, this card is a pretty good card. So following that, we're staying with some tag team action. Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar of Latino World Order are taking on the Usos. Now, the Usos just got the disappointment. They got dissed by the head of the table, Roman Reigns, on last week's episode of Friday Night SmackDown. Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa are now taking on Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens at Night of Champions for the tag titles. And following that segment, Rey Mysterio and the rest of the Latino World Order were sort of making fun of the Usos. That's what led to this match. And this is going to be a really fun match. I'm excited to see these two teams go at it. And I feel like we're getting a lot of fresh matchups, especially in the tag team division. So I'm super excited for this match. I'm excited to see how these teams face off in the ring, how their talents, how their skills sort of, what kind of chemistry these people have. So I think that this could be a really fun match. And I think this could steal the show. Rey Mysterio, we talked about on the podcast, which will be out on Monday, but Rey Mysterio is one of my top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time. So I'm happy to see him still going. And honestly, he has not lost a step. And I feel like not enough people are talking about it. So shout out to Rey Mysterio. But staying in the bloodline, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are going to meet Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa face to face, which will likely be the main event of Friday Night SmackDown. And I am really excited for this. I mean, every time you put Sami and KO in the bloodline in the same ring, it is going to be magic. I think there's a lot of really good things that they can do with this feud. And I think there's a lot of really good things that they can do with this segment. I think it's going to really help build this match for Night of Champions, because Night of Champions, we didn't have a lot of time to build these matches for. That's why over the past week or so. It's just been someone sort of coming out, and then that's going to be the matchup. Now, we don't have every match announced quite yet, but we know a good number of the matches just based off the things that have happened, even if the matches haven't been made official yet. So I am very excited to have these four men be in the same ring together because I think it's going to be a really good segment, just like every Bloodline segment is and has been. So that's going to wrap it up for the live stream. This was a quick one. But let me know, how excited are you for this Friday night SmackDown match card? I am super pumped for it. And I think that this could be a really good episode. So it's going to be interesting to see sort of the fallout of it and how things will be different moving forward, leading to Night of Champions, which is next week. And me and Dylan are going to be doing the Night of Champions match card predictions on a live stream next week. We live stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And make sure to listen to the Burning Hammer podcast. We release new episodes every single Monday. It's available on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcast. And the best way to stay up to date with when we release new episodes of the podcast is to make sure to follow us on our social media. On Twitter, you can follow us at The Burnt Hammer. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at The Burning Hammer. And you can follow us on YouTube and Facebook at The Burning Hammer as well. And follow us on Twitch at the Burning Hammer Podcast. We are going to be live streaming on there moving forward as well. And I cover professional wrestling along with Dylan for Vendetta Sports Media. So make sure to follow them on Twitter at Vendetta VSM. Follow them on Instagram and TikTok at Vendetta Sports Media. And make sure to check out vendettasportsmedia.com for all of your sports needs, TVs, movies, gaming, you name it. Vendetta Sports Media is going to cover it. Make sure to check out vendettasportsmedia.com for all of your sports needs. That's going to wrap up the live stream. Like I said, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we go live. Plus, we're going to be uploading videos to our YouTube channel as well. So make sure to subscribe, like, and drop a comment below. Let me know, how excited are you for Friday Night SmackDown? I'll catch you on Monday at 11 for the live stream where we're going to take a look at what to expect for Monday Night Raw. I'll see you